This report is about an alarming trend, rising food prices from grains to cooking oil, the price of basic staples skyrocketing across the globe. The reason for this is the war in Ukraine and droughts fueled by climate change. For countries, this is an alarming situation. Price hikes are worsening already existing food crisis, fueling protests in several countries across the world. In Argentina, thousands of farmers protested in Buenos Aires. This was against President Alberto Fernandez. His policies to curb inflation have been slammed by the agricultural sector. In the first 4 months of 2022, prices in Argentina rose to 23%. This includes a 6% jump in April. Things got so bad that people took to the streets. It's called Federal March for Work and Salaries. They demanded jobs, security, and a basic living wage.
A typical family made up of 5 people must spend around 80,000 pesos to survive. We see that Argentines do not earn that much money. They earn much less. So we are at a time in which the population is living below the poverty line, and many residents in Buenos Aires and the rest of the provinces are poor. This national march is to speak out on this.
Son pobres. Entonces, bueno, esta marcha federal un poco viene a mostrar esto.
Not just in Argentina, people took to the streets all across Latin America. Protests continued in Chile, Uruguay, Venezuela, Colombia, as people slammed the rising cost of living. In Greece, thousands took to the streets, their complaint same: a surge in energy and food prices. Greece's annual consumer inflation accelerated to 8.9% in March, hitting its highest level in over 27 years.
The wages are meager in comparison to the rising prices at the current time. The people are exhausted. There is a serious problem here, and this crisis is bringing Greek society to its knees.
In West Asia too, the situation is no different. Prices of some essentials have shot up by as much as 300%. The surge has triggered widespread unrest. Earlier this month, Iran slashed subsidies on basic food items. New prices of wheat and flour were announced. This is how people reacted to this. These protesters, they're chanting death to Raisi. It got so bad that the president himself issued a response. He refused to restore the subsidies, saying that he won't shy away from making hard choices. In Sudan, protests escalated into violence. A protester was shot and killed in the Sudanese city of Madani as demonstrators marched across the country to protest a military coup. Sudan's currency has lost more than a third of its value since the coup, rapidly driving up prices of food, fuel, other goods. Global food prices started to rise in mid-2020. This was when businesses shut down due to the pandemic. Since then, there have been problems with key crops in many parts of the world. The Ukraine war dramatically worsened the outlook for food prices. The UN Food Agency says prices hit an all-time record in February and then again in March. The big question here is, when will the prices come down? That's hard to say. Agricultural production depends on hard-to-predict factors like weather. The United Nations says the problem of global food security cannot be solved without restoring Ukrainian agricultural production and Russian food output. The World Bank forecasts that the wheat prices could rise more than 40% in 2022. The sharp rise in fertilizer prices could also discourage farmers. This could bring down yields and result in lower production. As climate warms, extreme weather is becoming more common, posing yet another risk to crop production across the globe. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.